Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. Today is episode number 45. This is crazy. We are almost to number 50. I'm going to have to do something cool to celebrate. I don't know what, since that idea just popped into my head, but wow, I cannot believe we are almost to 50 episodes of the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to me and for soaking in all of this information. I hope it's been really, really helpful. And I love bringing it to you. So today we are going to be talking about kind of piggybacking off of last week's episode where I really talked about macros for beginners and really went into depth about macros and how I teach them to my clients and how you can start out, obviously, tracking them and how that's beneficial for you, how to do things a little bit different than the quote unquote norm. And today I want to talk about something that this conversation came up in the car the other day, actually, when we were traveling to one of my daughter's volleyball tournaments and my husband and I were talking. And I don't even know exactly how it started, but basically what it boiled down to is we started talking about how you can just tweak your macros a little bit, put them a little bit into a surplus or a little bit into a deficit and change your body, but keep your workouts the same. And it doesn't have to be like this huge, cutting or bulking, which I love talking about those things. I actually have a podcast episode about them, but the way that I live recently, the last few years, is just so much more simple. And so we got to talking about that in the car, and I was like, this is a really good thing for me to talk about on the podcast because it's actually how I'm living right now. And if I think about it, it's how I've lived for a long time. And when I thought deeper about it, it's actually what I teach my clients. Now, my one-on-one clients, I'll get into this a little bit more later in the episode, but my one-on-one clients, I can obviously go in deeper and change their workouts and change their macros and really tailor it to them and teach them specifically, like if they need to be in a more of a calorie deficit or more of a calorie surplus, and really explain that. For in my group coaching programs, what I basically set up my ladies' macros like and their workouts are like is for them to be able to do this so simply, for them to be able to basically build muscle and lose or shed fat at the same rate so that their body tones up so naturally. So I have a lot of ladies that used to come to me in the past and say, I want to lose 50 pounds and then I want to build muscle and tone up. And I just remember thinking like, no, let's just do it all at once. Like, why spend all this time losing this weight and, shrinking yourself basically to a smaller, weaker size of yourself and then put the muscle on when we can do it at the same time. I didn't realize at the moment that what I was doing was just teaching them how to live in maintenance. I wish I would have documented my entire journey a lot more because I just kind of came up with these things on my own. But that's basically what I do. And I'm going to talk about it in this episode. And it's what I teach my group coaching clients. And I think it's the best way to live. I think it's good to know all of the things like I talked in a previous episode about going, from a calorie deficit in certain seasons of the year to maintenance certain seasons of the year and then to a surplus certain seasons of the year. And I love that. And I think that that's a great way to build your body. I think that that's a great way to be and to do things. And technically I do that on a very, very minor level. And like I said, that's a great way to do it. It's very effective, but I also know that can get really confusing for the general public. And so, it's hard to learn the basis of your workouts and how to perform your workouts correctly and how to have good form And then you're learning about macros and exactly what those are. And then you're learning about deficits and maintenance and surplus and when to do that and how it can be really overwhelming. And so that's why I've really kind of just simplified it in a way that my ladies don't have to worry about any of that. This also came from the other day, like last week, I was on Instagram just scrolling, and every once in a while I go through the list of influencers, like fitness professional influencers that I follow on Instagram, and really see if I still resonate with them or if things that they're saying I don't believe anymore or I don't like or it's whatever. And a lot of them were talking about, of course, they have been building over the winter, which I love. And then they're talking about now how they're having to cut and do all this cardio. And so they've really, really, shrunk back on their calories, and they're doing a ton of steps and a ton of cardio. And I was watching all of that and thinking, I don't do that. That's not how I do things. Yes, I do grow muscle, but I don't grow it, I guess. Maybe I don't grow it as fast as I could, obviously, or as fast as these other influencers that I was watching, but I just have no desire to calculate my macros that often and put myself in huge surpluses, like eating so much and then cutting back and then, and eating so little and upping my steps. And I would just so much rather do it the way that I'm going to talk to you about today, which is just keeping it simple. I mean, I do the same types of workouts all year round. Like I've said in previous episodes, I do add in walking in the summer, and naturally we just eat differently with the seasons. And that's how I kind of talked in that episode as well. But it's so much more simple to live the way that I do. In fact, it's so simple that I often struggle to put into words what I do, like to explain my lifestyle, because I guess I don't even think of it as being teachable. Even though it is, I've just gradually stumbled upon the things that I do in trying to make this work for me as a busy wife, as a busy mom, as a busy woman, which we all are. But how do I fit that in my life? I've never been one to just wonder or quit or give up or, fall off track. I don't want to do those things. And I don't think that you do either. I would so much rather make it so simple and seamless and fit into my life forever. And that's how I've done it. So basically what it comes down to is, instead of going from a huge calorie deficit to then going to maintenance to going to a huge calorie surplus, you can live in basically maintenance calories, which is the amount of calories that your body needs to survive in the form that it is right now. So if I don't want to change my body at all right now, so to speak, I need to eat a certain amount of, that's not true. If I want to not gain or lose weight, if I want the number on the scale for myself to stay the same, that's what I should say. If I don't want to gain or lose any weight, I want to stay exactly where I'm at right now, but my body requires a certain amount of calories to do that. That's maintenance calories. Now, I can adjust those calories up or down a tiny bit and it'll make a huge difference. Also, I can adjust my workouts, right? So I talked in a couple or 2 episodes ago about how to change up your workouts and how to add in more cardio and things like that. So if I want to build more muscle, I can keep my macros basically the same at maintenance and just lift heavier and do lower amount of reps. So lift heavy and do 3 to 5 reps instead of lifting lighter and doing 15 reps. That's how I can build muscle at the same amount of macros, same amount of calories, instead of supersetting everything and adding in cardio, because that's going to send my body the message that it doesn't want to grow muscle, that it just wants to lean out a little bit. So basically, you can get your body to a state to where, especially like my ladies at the beginning, like I was saying, you can get your body to be putting on muscle and losing fat at approximately the same pace, the same speed. So your body is changing gradually and you are gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. So the number on the scale might stay the same, for longer than you'd like. It might actually go up sometimes because naturally your body is just in this state of, you're not losing a ton of fat right off the bat and then gaining muscle. You're doing it at the same time. So the scale isn't going to move as much as quickly right away, but you will have more energy, you will have more confidence, your clothes will fit differently, your body will be shaped differently, and I think that that's amazing. Another plus is just that this is how you can stay forever. I really haven't changed up my macros in quite a few years. If anything, in the winter, I do add, I was telling my husband, I literally was like, I just add a couple hundred grams of carbs. And that's it. I keep my protein the same. I keep my staple foods the same. I add a little bit of carbs, which is AKA a freaking bowl of oatmeal. Like a huge bowl of oatmeal is a bunch of carbs, right? So I add a bowl of oatmeal into what I'm already eating like right now. And that's enough calories. And if I put some almond butter in there, it's fats. Put some fruit in there to even up the carbs a little bit. And then I'm going to be building more muscle. So it can just be as simple as that. And this is such a good way to keep things super, super simple. If you're someone who's just starting out with macros, or if you're like, oh, I do not want to learn how to, count a calorie surplus and then go to maintenance and then go to a deficit and change my workouts all the time. If you just want to keep it super freaking simple, AKA this is how I have built my body. So if you want to do what Christy does, this is it. And this is how I set up my programs. Like I said, I don't even think that that sounds bad as a business owner. I don't think I did this on purpose, but I really don't think I did it on purpose. A lot of what I do in my business and with my ladies is I take what I learned from previous clients and I see what's working and I just start to do that naturally with more clients. And it just becomes my way of doing things for my ladies. And so it is a proven system. But sometimes it happens so gradually that I'm like, oh, that's actually what I'm doing. I'm just not calling it that. And a lot of times I don't call it that because you don't know what that means anyway. If I were to say, hey, sign up for my, 6-week program and I'll give you macros and you can live in maintenance and you're going to have no idea what that means. So there's no point in me saying that to you anyway. But this is how I set up my programs. The macros in my programs, as discussed in last week's episode, I discussed how I set up my ladies' macros for my ladies to start seeing fat loss and muscle gain at right around the same speed. This is beneficial because it's only one way to learn to do things. Once you find your numbers and your workouts, you're set. And this can be done forever if you choose to. So this is what I walk my ladies through in my Shred Series group coaching program, which we're in our winter Shred Series right now. I think we're on week 4, so we still have 2 weeks to go, and then we'll start Spring Shred Series, and that's a group coaching program that you can only join in winter and spring and summer and fall, so you'll be able to join that in April. But in that program, it's group coaching, so we have group chats, and we all work together, and this is how I set them up. Of course, I talk to them separately on the side, but as a group, I teach them about macros and workouts and what they're doing and how to process this information and how to take action. And what I'm doing is teaching them how to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. And it works so well. This is also how I set up macros in my other programs. If you go to my website, I have other programs that don't come with my coaching, but I do set up macros for you. Or if I just set up one-time macros for you with different programs, this is how I do it. I do it at a quote-unquote maintenance, so that you don't have to change your macros all the time. You don't have to change your workouts all the time. And my programs are designed to take you through a series of workouts to where you are doing more cardio at times, you're doing less cardio at times, you're doing less reps, more reps at times to get you that body that you want. In my one-on-one coaching programs, I can tailor the macros and workouts to your needs and teach you more in depth. So if you are wanting to see fat loss or muscle gain at a faster rate, we can tweak those things for you. But like I said, for the general public, AKA me, apparently, living in this maintenance to where I don't have to change my macros all the time is so nice, because not only is it just one way to live and I don't have to, change up my macros all the time, like I said, but my body has become so accustomed to the amount of food that I'm eating. And yes, this takes time. You have to spend the time learning your body. This is your responsibility. This is the foundation. This comes first. There are no more fad diets. You are not doing what other people do anymore. No more throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. You are done with that. You are learning macros. You are learning how your body actually works and digests food and what it needs for fuel and how it functions. And once you do that, your body like I've talked about before, your body begins to trust you. My body trusts me so well right now because I'm doing the things that it needs me to do. And if not, it lets me know. My stomach will be very angry at days where I'm not doing what it wants me to do. But it doesn't really react by bloating or anything like that anymore. We just get right back on track together. My body and we work together. But it just becomes this system to where your body trusts you. Your body knows, like my body knows I'm going to feed it around 1,700 calories per day. It knows the macro split. It knows we're going to work out most of the time. We're going to be lifting weights. We're going to have greens so I can digest my food better. We're going to, have these protein items to get my protein in. So we're going to have the essential amino acids to burn or to build muscle. Like my body just is so used to doing all these things. And that's because I have these habits in place. That's because I practice what I preach. That's because I do things so simple that my body is just kind of this well-oiled machine that it knows what to do. And that's one of the benefits to keeping yourself in maintenance and doing the same thing year round. There's nothing wrong with the calorie deficit and the calorie surplus to build and to shred down. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I actually do have a group right now, my Body Boss ladies. They're doing that, so to speak, but we're not doing that with them in a huge, I haven't had them pack on 500 to 800 calories and then taken those calories away from them to shred down. They will be shredding down a little bit in the spring, but with a different effort, kind of like a Christy Castillo style. We're not going to be stripping them of carbs or anything like that. It'll just be changing up the workouts and maybe a little macro change, of course. But that's just how we're doing things. And we're experimenting with that group. I'm doing those workouts actually right now as well. And it's going really well. I have not changed my macros like at all. I've changed my workouts, lifting differently, and my body is changing and it's going great. But you have to know how your body works. If not, you will just keep spinning your wheels and going in circles. And then the next step after you know how your body works is to line up your macros and workouts for your goals so that it works seamlessly. This does take time. And this is where I come in. It is so beneficial to have me. I can't tell you how many times over the last 2 weeks I've got messages from my ladies that have, they're either at a plateau or they're gaining a little bit or they need help with their macros or they're not understanding or they'd like a one-on-one call with me, like just anything for me to give them advice and to walk along with them and to encourage them and to explain to them what is going on in their body and why they should just keep going, why they don't need to be freaked out. And it's so helpful for them to have me to walk alongside them and to explain, like, this is the last thing that they're ever going to have to do. And so I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to explain to you yet another option on how to make things super, super simple for you. I'm all about making things simple. I'm all about having your body trust you. I'm all about having your body be this well-oiled machine that you don't have to keep changing the macros and changing the workouts and, buying different products and buying different things. Like once you figure it out, it can just be done for life. Your body will trust you and you're literally like this well-oiled machine. I know that sounds weird and I say that a lot, but it is what it is truly. So that's how I live right now. This is how I'm basically going to live forever because it's so easy. And one last thing, a benefit to living like, honestly, if you're living kind of in maintenance like this, let's say like over the last weekend, we were at that volleyball tournament, like I said, so I had a bunch of pizza, I had a drink, I have energy drinks all the time, but I had a lot of things, right? I did not eat well over the weekend. Well, that's really just kind of me putting my body in a quick calorie surplus. All I need to do is like a leg day. Legs and glutes are your largest muscle groups. So if I work those, I burn more calories. I put all that calories, all those carbs to use, and I'm trying to use those calories and carbs to build muscle. So it's like when I overeat, I don't care because I'm just going to turn that into muscle and I'm just going to use it as fuel anyway. So living at maintenance is nice because if you are sick or if you are stressed or for whatever reason and your appetite sucks, been there, that's kind of like a little, calorie deficit for a while, and you're going to shred down. Unfortunately, if you're sick, that sucks. It is what it is. And then if you overeat for a while, you go on vacation or whatever, that's like a little calorie surplus, and you don't have to stress out about it. So living in maintenance just has these little perks that kind of come in handy all over the place. But I hope that was helpful. There is a link for all of my current services in the show notes of this episode, so you can look into the one-on-one coaching where I really, really dive in and teach you specifically all of the things you need to know. My group coaching will be back open in April for the basics, and you have a group and some accountability, and that is going amazing. I'm always tweaking that. And then there's the DIY programs. Of course, you get access to my app, and you get access to me, and you get access to macros, but it's a little bit differently. You don't get the group and the accountability, so to speak. But all of those options are available at the link in the show notes. So if you want to check out any programs, of course, I am always here to talk. Shoot me a DM at Christy Castillo Fit on Instagram, or an email, wherever you can find me. I love to hear from you, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review, and of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.